Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel with a new series that I'm introducing today called Recollection. I have a lot of games in my collection, and some of those games have a near and dear place in my heart, so I figured that I would start a new series. I don't know how long it'll go, because, you know, some of those memories only go back so far, but I wanted to create a new series where I don't necessarily review a game or I talk about a game, but I talk about a game in its relation to me and my memories and how I'm connected to it. Hence why the show is called Recollection. I originally wanted to call it Memory, but that's kind of bland, and then I wanted to call it disc-based memory, but there's some games that are on cartridges that I'd want to talk about, so that wouldn't make sense. And then I figured going with game pile, battling the backlog, I figured I'd try and keep in that step, and collection was the word that was next, so Recollection fit perfectly. And what better place to start out than one of the most critical games in my life, Spyro the Dragon. Spyro the Dragon was the first game that I ever owned. I remember I got it for Christmas along with a PlayStation 1, and I remember ripping it open and being super excited. I feel like I had like a Nintendo 64 or a Super Nintendo or something from a cousin. I don't have a lot of memories about it, but I vaguely remember my childhood dog chewing through a controller on one of those consoles, but they weren't really mine. They never felt like mine. But when I got a PlayStation and I got Spyro the Dragon, and I also got a copy of Gex. That one is the second game I ever owned. It just connected immediately. So me and my parents, we opened it up, and then I hooked it up to this like wooden framed CRT television that was really old. Granted, this had to be late 90s, early 2000s, when I was 5 or 6 years old. And we hooked it up, and we started playing it, and I can remember just a small part of it. I don't remember the whole thing because I was 5 or 6 years old, but I remember running around Artisans, sitting on the floor with my dad at my side, going through, picking up gems and like looking at the dragons and stuff like that, and thinking like, oh, this is so cool. One of the other funny stories about when my parents bought me the PlayStation and Spyro, they told me that they played the demo in the store on the kiosk, and we're thinking like, this is amazing, like it looks so good, and if only they knew where we'd be in over 22 years, 23 years, something like that, with Reignited Trilogy and where it was. Them telling me that story has always stuck out in my head too. My dad and I would often play together, and I remember there was only one dragon that was really holding us up from being able to hit the 100% point to unlock the bonus level. And it was one dragon. We'd sit and we'd hear the rattle of the dragon in the background, and it was in haunted towers. You have to like take the ramp around the long way, and we could not figure it out for the life of us. I don't remember if we looked it up or if we finally discovered it, but I do remember that when we did find it, we were extremely excited, and we got to go to the last level. So being one of my earliest video gaming memories, Spyro is always connected to me in that way. I would play the game pretty frequently. I mean, I would remember revisiting it when I was in middle school and high school, and I'd play the game about once a year just because I loved playing it so much. I'd play it to max completion, set it aside, and the next year rolls around, I'd get like an itch, and I'd want to play Spyro again, so I'd break it out and I'd start playing it. I remember one time in college, I only had my PS3 and my PS4, and I didn't bring my PS1 or my PS2, so I didn't bring my PS1 or PS2 games. And when one of my buddies in college told me that the PS3s can play PS1 discs, I had no idea. I don't know how I didn't know. It's completely new to me, completely confusing. But he let me borrow his Spyro 1 disc. I remember playing through it in a couple days at college, so it was a really good time. And then I always will remember the dragon named Lucas, obviously, connected to me by name. And he's actually a really important dragon. He tells you the secret of the artisan homeworld, so very important dragon that has a great name. While it wasn't Spyro 1, it was Spyro 3 that actually got me into speedrunning. I remember in college stumbling across Twitch streams, and I found Jeremy Thompson playing Spyro 3, and I think he was doing 100 egg or any percent at the time, and it was those two runs that like really interested me in the world of speedrunning. And then obviously the first thing I did was look up Spyro the Dragon and how fast it took somebody to complete the game in its entirety. I remember watching that and I was like, I need to figure out how to do this. And while it would be a couple years later before I actually attempted and started doing it myself, maybe it wasn't a couple years, maybe it was only 1 year, I don't remember. Spyro 120% was the game that I picked up, and I started playing through it and learning the route, and I started speedrunning it, and it was great. So while the game means so much to me, continuing to play it through my life actually opened up a whole new world of how to play games. I got to play this game in a brand new way, and I met a ton of great friends on Twitch, all because of one video game that I got when I was a kid. It's crazy to think about. Now, unfortunately, all my memories with the game can't necessarily be positive. There are some negative things that came out with speedrunning the game. I did get kind of obsessed with trying to reach a milestone that was just out of reach, and I would just play it over and over, and I'd get frustrated, and I wasn't having a ton of fun. It was also preventing me from playing other games casually and doing other speedruns that I really wanted to learn, because I was so stuck on playing this one game. And if I could go back in time, I would have told myself, hey, it's time to move on. You need to do other things. Play other games that you want to play, and do other speedruns that you want to speedrun. It's time to let go. And while I have done other categories like Vortex or the Lucas percent speedrun that I ended up making up on the fly, I still play the game, I still speedrun the game, but 120% I finally kind of moved on from it. I've been having a great time after the fact with that. So that's one of the biggest negatives. Another negative is that when Reignited came out, I couldn't really, I feel, fully enjoy the remake of this game, because the game was a complete 100% accurate remake with all the gems in the new spots. So even if I slowed down, it didn't really matter, because I knew where everything was, and while I did enjoy watching all the dragon animations for the first time in a long time, it just kind of didn't feel as full as I wanted it to be, and it sucks, but I mean, I don't regret learning the speedrun. Obviously, I've made a ton of friends, and it's allowed me to enjoy this game in a new way, as I've mentioned. So while it did kind of take away from that, the game's still pretty. I still love playing it, and it feels like a totally different game, so it's not like a huge negative. But the only new things that I could really do were some of the skill points that they added in so that you could get the platinum trophy. So that kind of sucks, but overall, like I said, I wouldn't replace speedrunning this game for anything. Another fun memory that doesn't necessarily relate with playing the game is one time at a comic convention, there was Carlos Alazraqui, the voice of Spyro in the game, and I loved Spyro obviously when I was a kid. My favorite cartoon was Rocko's Modern Life, and he voices Rocco. I watched a ton of Fairly Odd Parents where he voiced Denzel Crocker, and Camp Lazlo where he voiced Lazlo, so I was really connected to Carlos Alazraqui in more ways than one, and I took my childhood copy of the game, my black label copy, and I took it to Comic-Con and I got him to sign it, and he wrote on here, "Thank you, Lucas. Watch out for Nasty Nork, Spyro," and then he obviously put his little CC signature, or CA signature on there. It was really awesome meeting him, and it was really, it connected me back to my childhood once more. Here's a picture of the situation. He's kind of making a weird face because I think the person that was taking the photo thought that it was a recording. You could either pay for an autograph or you could pay for him to like recite some lines and stuff like that, and Spyro doesn't really have any lines that I'd want to pay him extra money just to hear him say when I hear him say it all the time. So he's kind of making a goofy face, but I really enjoyed meeting Carlos. It was a great time. So yeah, my original childhood disc right here that I got over 20 years ago. I've since retired this disc. It started skipping and stuff, and I didn't want to go rebuff it. I just kind of wanted to put it on the shelf, let it display, and let it rest, and I've switched to this greatest hits version. Yeah, I love this game so much, and it means so much to me that I collect games because of this game, I play games because of this game, I've made great friends because of this game, I've started a new hobby because of this game. Just the memories that I have with this game I will cherish, and it will always be part of me. I've named my dog Spyro after this game. It's crazy. But yeah, if it wasn't for Spyro the Dragon, I wouldn't love video games, I wouldn't be making this video, I wouldn't be streaming on Twitch, who knows what I'd be doing. It's crazy to think about what I'd be doing if this game never came into my life that one Christmas way back when. So yeah, that's going to do it for this episode of Recollection, my memories on Spyro the Dragon. Like I said, I don't know how long this series is going to go. There's a few games that I have in mind that I want to make videos about my memories with and how they're important to me and stuff. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you click the like button down below. It really helps me know that you enjoy this, and then I'll make more of them. And leave a comment telling me the video game that has the biggest memory with you and the one that you hold closest to your heart, even if it may not be your favorite game. So yeah, thank you all so much for tuning into the first episode of Recollection. Make sure you click the subscribe button down below so you know when I release the next episode of this series, when I talk about my favorite video game of all time, Metal Gear Solid. So yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one.